Alright, welcome back to another Dangus Outdoors video, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make maple syrup. First I'm going to show you how to tap a tree. It is February 13th, and one important thing about making maple syrup is it needs to get below freezing during the night, and then in the daytime get above freezing. Like today, it's finally warm here in Michigan. It's going to get up to 40 degrees today. So yeah, that will bring the sap up from the roots, and then that's how you get the sap out of the tree. Another important thing to note is you obviously need to be using maple trees, preferably sugar maples. And there's a couple different ways to tell if it's a maple or not. Easiest way I would say would be going by the leaf. It's like the Canadian flag, that is a maple leaf. But then this time of the year, the trees don't have leaves. So one easy way that I can tell to figure out if it's a maple is looking at the branches, because they actually split coming off the branch at the same way, and I'll show you an example of that. Alright, so here is the maple tree that I'm going to be tapping, and referring to the branches, as you can see, this is a really large example, but you can see that the branches both come off at the same point right there on the tree. So, and then obviously looking at the smaller twigs, those should be doing the same thing as well. So now we know this is a maple tree, so now we can tap the tree. And for taps, I use these plastic ones, and you can just get those at any of your local stores. They're pretty easy to find. And they're 5/16, so I have a 5/16 drill, and then I'm gonna drill it in 2 inches. So you can see I put a piece of tape there, so I just know how far to drill. And I'm gonna drill at a little bit of an upward angle because you want the sap to funnel out of these. And one more thing to note is I am not an expert at this. I did do this last year and it ended up working good, so I'm drilling this on the east side of the tree. That's this part that's going to get hit by the sun the most, so that will be the warmest side of the tree. And if the tree's bigger than 18 or 20 inches, you can put 2 taps in it. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 taps in this tree. So then you just take this and your hammer, and you hammer that into the tree. Okay, now we're gonna take this tubing that I got, which is also 5/16. We're gonna connect it to our taps right here, and then I have 5-gallon buckets, and I drilled 2 holes in the top of this lid, and I'm just gonna put each tube in each hole, and then this tree will be all set and ready. Alrighty, and that is the finished product. Now all we do is wait for the bucket to fill up with sap. Alright, here is our next maple tree. And this one is on the smaller side. You don't want to go any smaller than, I think it's 10 to 12 inches. And I did, earlier when I was drilling the tree, I said the east side. I believe it's the south side that you want to drill. And that'll be where you'd get the most sap. So we're only going to put 1 tap in this one because it's smaller. And then with this one, I don't know if that's focusing or not, but you can see that This is pretty wet, so that's sap in there. And yeah, it's actually running out of it right now. You want to make sure that you clean out this hole too, so that way the sap can flow through it easier. But here's the sap coming out of it. There's the sap coming out of it. You can go ahead and insert our tap. Okay. Measure this out. Alrighty, there we go. And that one took me less than 2 minutes to do, so it doesn't take too long to get them all. These are a little bit better angle. I don't know if you can see that it's wet in there or not, but. And then also another thing to note is you want to kind of treat the sap like, oh, there, a drop just dropped. You want to kind of treat this sap like milk. It can't get too hot, so I don't think I need to worry about it now because it's not getting too warm yet. But if you need to, you can take the snow and put it up around the bucket so it helps keep the sap a little cooler. Alrighty, here's the next tree. I actually tapped this tree last year. You can see right there, that's an old hole. And yeah, the trees just heal over time and it doesn't hurt them. So I'll go ahead and tap this tree. All right, here is the last tree I'm doing. And then this one was pretty easy to tell. Sometimes they still have their leaves on them. Let's see if I can find a good leaf. Oh. And there is your maple leaf. So sometimes they'll still have their leaves on them and it'll make it a lot easier to tell. Oh, it's pouring out of it. All right, here is the last tap. Now all we do is wait. I'll check them here in a few days to see how full they are. But I'm hoping by, today's Friday, by at least next weekend I'll have enough to boil them and make syrup. So we'll see what happens. It is now Tuesday and I put the buckets out on Friday, so they've been sitting for 4 days now, and I am pulling them today and I'm gonna boil them down to syrup. And I'll show you this bucket right now and how much we got, and this was from the smallest tree that I tapped. You can see there, this one only maybe a quarter of a bucket. We are officially boiling the sap now. I ended up getting a total of 10 gallons. So, let's see, there's sap in those buckets. And then there's sap here. And then there's sap in here. And right now I just have those lids on them until they start boiling. Because once it starts boiling, you want it to evaporate. And then here is the makeshift oven that I made out of cinder blocks. Pretty simple design, but it works good. And this should end up taking all day to boil this down. update. And you can see it's starting to boil. Took a little longer than expected. It's been going for 2 hours now. Having to mess with my oven a little bit, trying to figure out a way to keep the heat in there the best. So I put another piece right there to block it off, so the heat is trapped in there more. But we're rolling now. Starting to make some progress now. This foam, you want to make sure that you scoop that out. Take it like that, throw it on the ground. It's pretty easy. So now that the sap is boiling out of these, I can add more sap to these so then it'll all boil down together. This is the remainder of the sap. You can see the color starting to change. It's turning a little darker. Getting towards the home stretch. Alright, it is now 9 o'clock and this is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. I took all of the sap from that and ended up putting them both in here. And now it's getting down to the bottom, and I just came out here to check the temperature. And it's 210. So I'm probably gonna take this off, and then tomorrow I will boil the rest inside. So I know in the last video I just said I was gonna wait in the morning, but I decided to finish it right now. So I'm gonna bring the sap inside, and I just put this cheesecloth over this pan, and I'm gonna pour the sap over this cheesecloth and get all the debris and crap out of it. And then I just have to make sure I keep a really close eye on it because it needs to be exactly 219 degrees. And that actually did catch me by surprise that it was already 210. So hopefully this shouldn't take too long and we will have maple syrup soon. So now I got this on the stove and I have it set on high, and you need to remember to make sure that you turn your fan on up here because all this is going to be evaporating and it can be a sticky mess, so do not forget to do that part. $218.7, $218.8, $219. Okay, taking it off. $219 on the dot. Look at that. Oh, add some homemade maple syrup. Just finished boiling. Now we have a funnel with the cheesecloth over it, and I'm gonna pour this into our mason jar and debris that's still in it. Alright, and as you can see, there was still a little bit of stuff in there. And the one last thing that I like to do is, once you have it in your container, is just tip it upside down, so that way if there's any bacteria or anything in there, the syrup is so hot right now, it'll just kill anything in there. And there you go, there's your maple syrup. And as you can see, out of the 10 gallons of sap that I collected, I got a little over 30 ounces of maple syrup. Thank you for watching another episode of Dangus Outdoors.